Thank you for being here. It was a tough day to get here, so those of you who are here made an effort. I had to stop 3 times on the way over here from where I parked. But I'll find a ride back in my car. Anyway, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance real quick. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you take a seat, please? Couple thoughts for the day. This comes right off the Kiwanis website. There's a mission statement, and there's a couple of other pieces, and then we have some objects of Kiwanis clubs. I'll read you a couple of them. To give primacy to the human and spiritual rather than to the material values of life. To encourage the daily living of the golden rule in all human relationships. And to promote the adoption and the application of higher social, business, and professional standards. So those are just a few thoughts of the day. Kiwanis site has all kinds of information. Jeff can find them for you if you can't. So, Jeff, turn it over to you. Come on up.
Yeah.
You're up.
You're up.
Oh, look at this. Come on. I thought she'd give it to you.
You remember you signed up for this?
The objects that were just read, or there's a couple of objects. Those were adopted in 1925 in Denver, Colorado. We just had the 100th anniversary of the adoption of those objects. And although a couple times people have brought changes to the objects, they are unchanged after 100 years. So the members have decided to leave them alone. Hey, it says I'll be taking the reins of the new club here, beginning in a few weeks. I will be asking you to pledge your support of our mission for the new club year. The club pays dues to KI on your behalf, so please submit your dues promptly so that we know who's going to be on the roster. If there's somebody that you haven't seen in a while, don't hesitate to reach out to them and try and get them engaged in the club. Even though there are people that don't make it to every meeting, they are engaged in other ways. We were just talking about Nancy Ulrichs. I ran into her. Long time member of the club. She's just able to help every month, but isn't able to make these meetings. So members are engaged, and I just want to make sure that we're giving them those opportunities to engage and making sure that they become or remain part of the club. Each year, our foundation provides multiple grants up to $5,000 each for local nonprofits serving youth in Indy. Please encourage those you know to apply at indykiwanis.org/grants through October 3rd. As a reminder, we're at the Columbia Club on the third Thursdays. Key Clubbers will join us during their fall break on Thursday, October 16th. And we'll have Chuck Lofton on November 20th. Upcoming Thursday Zooms include Kurt Vonnegut Museum for Banned Books Week on Thursday, October 2nd, and Larry Dickerson and Jolene Ketzenberger with Culinary Crossroads on October 9th, just before the World Food Championships. Thank you all for coming today. Sincerely appreciate it.
Hi everyone, it's time for the update on the upcoming football banquet. I know it's hard to think about winter weather and football, though it's fun to think about the Colts now that they're 2-0, hopefully 3-0 after Sunday. But when it's 90 degrees out, it's hard to think about winter activities. But the Thursday, December 4th, mark your calendars. As you know, we're We meet at the Gridiron Hall out on 56th Street. That's always fun. Everybody likes to meet there. We're gonna have the girls' flag teams will be invited again. And the Colts have grown the flag teams from 8 teams in 2003 to 79 this year. Wow. So it's a real growing program for girls' flags. Anybody have any kids in boys or girls' flags? Steve, are your girls?
No, they're all.
Yeah, I've got 2 grandsons that play flags. Flags programs is really good. A lot of parents are concerned about injuries for kids, and flags is really a good way for kids to participate in organized sports without being concerned about injuries. We started our committee meetings and invite others to join in the process. We'd really like to have a female on the committee if you're so interested on being on the football committee. The day after our event is our bell ringing begins, where we meet at the Kroger on what is that? Grand 71st. Yeah. So we meet at the Kroger there on the Fridays, the 5th, the 12th, and 19th before Christmas, and we collect for the Red Kettle program. And so we'll be getting the sign up on that. Kelly, when do you think you're gonna have that?
Probably next week.
Next week the sign up will go on. So
It's a competitive thing, isn't
it
it?
is. You gotta get your
spot
name in the
Get
slot.
your name on there.
Yeah. Yes,
I'll
Steve.
send it that chart, so we do have a new member joining, who probably is gonna really be rallying us to raise money for the kettle, so.
Is that who is that?
Go up
Getting
and
his
talk
name.
in the thing.
Huh?
Go up and
Oh,
talk.
is it in
in
there?
there.
It's in the.
No, go talk in front of the camera.
Oh, you want some screen time, Steve?
Yeah, he was.
Sure.
It's
To put you on the spot.
I'm meeting him for coffee tomorrow morning. Mike Rowland is the development director at Salvation Army.
So he works with
Great.
Duke.
Yeah, with Duke of Dodge. So he'll,
Mike Rowland.
yep, so he'll be joining the club and
Good.
he'll be rallying us around the kettle, so,
Good deal.
yeah.
Great, thanks for the update on that. So that's always fun, and all of us remember Joe Marbaugh, who used to carry a big wad of ones, and he used to challenge everyone that, some call it annoying, some call it,
I like it.
but he used to say, I'll put in $1 if you'll put in $1. So that was always fun. Anyway, that's the update for the program and the bell ringing, football program and bell ringing.
Sorry, me again. All right. Mary, what's her name?
Bulk?
Falk, thank you, has scheduled the next local social supper on Wednesday, October the 1st, at the Athens Restaurant on 86th Street. Great restaurant, I've been there a couple times. And our next lunch bunch at Iozo's is Monday, October the 6th. So those are kind of close, but they're a week apart, basically. So come and join either one of those. Socials have been great, I've been going to most of those. And I go to most of the Iozo's, those are always fun.
That's Italian beef and Indy.
You hear it right there. And then for the golf, just wanted to make mention, we have 22 foursomes signed up. So we're gonna have a nice group. Our title sponsor is Neo Engineers. Our silver sponsor is Gelzer from Georgia over there. And then we've got food and beverage sponsors, North Mechanical, Heartland Builders, and Structural Design. Those are our major sponsors. We've got 20 whole sponsors. So it's gonna be a nice outing. We should net 25,000 for the foundation of the club out of that.
And I heard you have an autographed Butler basketball, is that true?
We can start auctioning on that today.
We're undefeated this year.
Make,
Is there a bid on that already?
not yet, we can start, you can start,
I
Steve.
can write you in as the first one.
It's signed by Thad Mata, right?
No, I signed it.
That's even more value.
Okay, people are gonna owe us money.
And then at the golf outing, if you can't come, there's no Thursday meeting that week. If you want to come to lunch at the golf course, Coffin, Hank's Smoked Brisket is serving the food. And
So Coffin is on Cold Spring Road,
Cold Spring
just
Road.
south of Marion.
Marion,
And right now, 30th Street, there's construction, so you can get there going across 38th or 16th.
there was no bridge for a while. But come on, you can join us. Should be between 2 and 3 for lunch if you want to come and join. So show up at 2.
And Hank's
No
Smoked
cost.
Brisket is Lamita Still's dad's business.
Yeah,
So
and it's awesome.
And it's really good.
It's exceptional. It's worth the trip.
We eat there all the time. We're right around the corner from it. So come out and join us for lunch if you want. And then Penny, did you want to speak anything about? This is Kelly had a note on here.
Yeah, no, we received one of the grants last year and working on the.
Get your will.
Okay, yeah. I'm Penny Schroeder. I'm the Area Vice President of Diversity Blood Center of Indiana. And we applied for a grant regarding key clubs and blood donations. So we met earlier this spring at IOSOs, and so we have a little more work to do, but we're really excited about using that to help further blood donation in key clubs and high schools. So,
Good. Thank you.
you're welcome.
We hope to get this started soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Laura? Well,
All right, so I'm here to introduce Mickey Shuey, named Journalist of the Year at the Alliance Area Business Publications Summer Conference. And he was also receiving the Silver Award for Real Estate Reporting. He joined IBJ in 2018 and was previously working with the Palladium item in Richmond, and as the Food and Business Development Reporter in the Star Press in Muncie. He is a University of Dayton grad. Yeah, any other grads? No? Okay. He attended the Archbishop Alter High School and was a Key Club member and manager of the boys varsity basketball team. So, thank you for being here. Welcome.
I was telling Chuck and George, I'm not much of a public speaker. There's a reason I'm a writer. With that, I mean, I cover, just a little bit about myself. I cover real estate, tourism, and the business of sports. The real estate angle is really focused on commercial real estate. In fact, I've written a couple stories about this building we're sitting in right now, and their plans for the future. But I really focus on downtown for the most part, and then kind of the north side up to about 96th Street, and our fantastic north of 96th reporter, Dan Bradley, takes it from there. But with that, I mean, I guess I will let you guys turn the tables on me and ask me some questions. I'm not used to that, but I'll open up to that. And to be clear, we're off the record today, so. Yeah, yes.
I'll start. So with real estate downtown, I think, all of us recall 5 years ago, downtown was extremely vibrant. And, after 6 o'clock, there were tons of people walking around. And I think without the convention business, we wouldn't have any vibrancy downtown. And I think it has a lot to do with people working downtown. And so my specific question is, with high-rise buildings, like we'll take the One America building, for instance, they're gonna lose a major tenant in the next 3 years that's building up on Mass Ave somewhere. What's the future for these high-rise buildings, and what are we gonna do with them if we can't fill them up?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I think that's something that the city, that developers are trying to figure out themselves, but I mean, we have seen really a shift toward multifamily and making downtown Indy not just a 9 to 5 destination, but a 24-hour destination with residential. We've already seen the building right over there, the 220 North Meridian building, that's been converted to about 250 apartments with another 75 or so on the way. The Gold building, which seems like it's back on track now. That's gonna be converted to about 350 apartments, as well as some retail, because when you look at that shift toward residential, you wanna give people not just a place to live, but things to do. And we saw with the opening of, I believe it's the 411 North Penn apartment tower, they have like the golf simulator there that's meant to drive people who live around there, but also drive people downtown to visit and all that. But I mean, between that and what we're seeing the Simon family do on the south side of downtown with Meridian Street, and what the Colts probably want to do at some point with their land, I think that developers and the city are kind of starting to figure out that you need to not just build places to live, but destinations for residents, and kind of put residents on the same par as you put visitors. So now that that's kind of been realized, I think we'll probably start seeing a large shift in that direction. Yes.
Along those lines, by the Gold Building with the city market, is that still part of that project?
So there's been quite a bit of shakeup over the past half a year. I actually just ran this earlier this week, that the Gold Building project actually almost fell apart, but they were able to secure a loan from the city that was finalized yesterday. It's an $18 million loan that's preventing foreclosure on the building itself. And so that means that portion of the project is moving forward. But as a result of that, the city decided to remove the city market and then the West Plaza portions of that initial development scope from the developer's hands, to give them just time to focus on the Gold Building. So the city's, once the Gold Building project is actually underway, the city is then gonna go out and put out a request for proposals, or an RFP, looking for developers to take on that element and try and get that back on track. They really overemphasized how much they want the city market to be back to what it used to be decades ago. And they've also noted that you can't really get there with where downtown is right now with residential. You have to build in a client base for that market. So building up around that, bringing in the apartments and possibly more apartments down the road on that eastern plaza, that's gonna, they hope, solve that problem. Yes?
You touched on it just a little bit, so I'm just curious. Teams like the Braves have built their own village. The Cubs invested $1 billion outside their ballpark. The Bears are looking to build their own village in Arlington Heights, and so it's like, it's very profitable, or it's turning to be very profitable. If you build a stadium and then environs around it for people to spend more money. Is that something that, have you heard that the Colts are talking about doing that? I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously two things at play here. There's what the Colts would want to do, and then what the Pacers want to do. And we're already seeing the Pacers do what they want to do between buying a property on Meridian Street, especially in that block that's kind of been problematic for downtown, the late night bars and all that. They're trying to kind of clear that out and kind of reset the clock a little bit on that. But then they're also building the hotel next to the arena, as well as a live music venue. So we're seeing all that kind of come together, notwithstanding everything that's supposed to happen with soccer, or could happen with soccer, we'll say, east of that. But the Colts have really encountered several issues over the years with getting something going there. And I have many sources telling me that that's something that they want to do. But their biggest challenges have been mainly the post office, because that's like a 2-block behemoth in the middle of downtown that ideally the Colts would like to build on. But that's federal land, or actually it's privately owned land and controlled by the federal government. Well, the government entity in the U.S.
They can't access it.
Right. But it seems like there might be some movement in that direction. They already have land south of the stadium, in that kind of like parking lot village, if you will, where people tailgate. So we probably will see movement in that direction over the next few years, but that'll probably be paired with plans for renovations to the stadium, like a major overhaul to the stadium, because it's 20 years old now, or about to be 20 years old, and that's kind of the, at this point in sports, the sports industry, that's kind of the point where teams start evaluating what they want to do next. And the Colts have an out clause if they're not in the top 5 markets in the NFL, which of course they're not. They're in Indianapolis. I mean, they're never going to be in the top 5. So, so we're going to start seeing some movement there to keep the Colts in Indy. That will probably involve the city and the state.
So, sorry. So, kind of based on what Steve said, we've got a lot of kind of businesses that have moved out into other environments, out of the core, Mount Core. And then it sounds like they've added a lot of apartments and condos, and more people moving downtown, and the investments of the Pacers and the Colts and the convention business. I mean, is the city just turning into a meetings and events, basically a tourism spot?
Well, I mean, that's kind of what the city is trying to balance. What the city has kind of become known for within that industry as a good destination for events, especially sporting events, because downtown is so walkable. But then you've got that other, play where, I mean, if that goes away like it did during COVID, what does the city do? You still want to have people who live down here and come down here on a regular basis. So how do you do that? You do that through residential, but also through those more experiential spaces. I mean, there's talks of Cosm coming downtown, which is like, how many here know what the Sphere is in Vegas? Have you guys heard of the Sphere? Yeah, so like that big Sphere, it's a really experiential theater essentially that just it's an immersive movie theater. Think of it that way. And Cosm is kind of like that for sports. It's much smaller, but it fits about 3,000 people. You can watch sports as if you're sitting in the stands. And they have several, a handful of them now that are either done or under development, and Indy is next on their list. So if Indy can get something like that, the hope is from the city that they can kind of continue building up not just the meeting and event space, but bringing unique experiences to Indianapolis that other cities might not have, at least not, Chicago doesn't have one yet. Indy's ahead of Chicago right now. Nashville doesn't have one yet. Indy's ahead of Nashville. So if you can bring in that regional perspective and bring in people from around, not just Indiana, but the surrounding states, that's something that the city's trying to tap into. Yes.
And recent deaths of Jim Irsay and Lucas, are those affecting any of what you foresee in the future?
So certainly the death of Jim Irsay really shook things up. Obviously an unfortunate passing, but from a business side, his daughters have been involved in the team for 10, 15 years now, each of them. And we're seeing Carly Irsay on the sidelines listening into plays, kind of evaluating what's actually going on between the coaches. So it's still a very hands-on team, or hands-on ownership group, but certainly they're going to have different priorities than what their dad did. But what those are, we're still trying to kind of understand. Kicking the Stigma, for example, that's a nonprofit focused on destigmatizing mental health issues, substance abuse issues. Obviously, that's something that Jim Irsay cared deeply about, that his daughters care deeply about. So we're going to see that continue to be a big part of it. We're going to continue to see a push for the combine to be a big part of Indy's role with the NFL, or is the draft going to come in? There's a lot of different moving parts happening that unfortunately we're not, I'm unfortunately not privy to yet. I'm trying to be, but nothing quite there yet to understand that. But as far as Lucas passing goes, it again unfortunate that he's gone. But from a business side, we do have a pretty big moment coming up involving Lucas Oil and the Colts, in that their deal for the naming rights for the stadium are 20 years long, and they signed that, I believe, in '06. So whether Lucas Oil feels like it wants to re-up that, or if the Colts want to go a different direction, I think that's going to be an interesting business story, because Lucas Oil was really not known very well when it signed that deal outside of like the racing industry. So they've gained a lot of market share over the years. So what's the value for them in continuing that partnership? I think it's going to be a big question as that negotiation starts. And you've obviously got Morgan Lucas, who took over for his dad, and we're going to probably see a very similar approach to what his dad did, because he's been involved in the company so long.
Well, I haven't seen any mention of it, but the value of the Colts is, what, $1 billion or
I think it was 2.5 last I saw.
2.5? Okay.
Yeah.
How are they paying the estate taxes, I wonder?
That's a great question. That's something I'm trying to figure out. I actually have a call on that early next week.
40% after about 16 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they have a few different options open to them. One is to sell a share of the team, and they can benefit that way. Another is to sell a portion of Irsay's holdings. I mean, we've already seen them get rid of his 3 estates that he owns. One just the Carbon one just closed earlier this week for $11.5 million. So not a lot of money for billionaires, but still gets you a little bit of the way there. But there's also exemptions and other things that can come into play that are way above my pay grade and understanding that I'm trying to dig into, that they probably won't have to pay the full 40%, is my guess. Yes?
About a year ago, I heard a little bit more about the Circle Center Mall area and imagined plans for that, but I have not read anything about it since. It kind of makes me nervous. It's just like a great potential in the city to do a lot of things, but I don't, is it going anywhere? Have you heard anything?
It is, actually. I had a meeting with Rob Gerbitz, the CEO of Hendricks Commercial Properties, 2 weeks ago, and they confirmed that they're still on track, and in fact, they've been doing a lot of scanning inside the south part of the property to basically determine what the structure's like, whether they need to tear down and rebuild, whether they can use the existing structure, all that sort of good engineering stuff, because they would like to get started on that relatively soon. He told me probably mid-year next year is when we'll probably start seeing, for lack of a term, shovels in the ground on that. I mean, they're also evaluating what they want to do with the Ellis Ayers building that Carson's used to be in. They own technically like the bottom 3 floors of that. So I did ask about Target, because I know that's something that Indy has been wanting for a while. He said, unfortunately, that there's been no conversations about that, but they do understand the desire, especially as Indy grows its residential base, to have more access to kind of those big box stores, if you will. So, and we've seen a lot of interesting stuff happen over the years with that. I mean, not to say that this is going to happen, but we've seen Costco, like they've invested in real estate in downtown areas where they have a warehouse beneath apartments. So like we're seeing a lot of movement from retailers to be in those urban spaces. So it would not be surprising to see more movement of that, especially if city officials kind of make it clear the priorities of building that residential base and being able to prove that that's going to come. Because it's one thing to do the first, but it's an entirely different challenge to prove your work in something like that, especially when it's still kind of trickling in.
I should know this, but the Butler Tarkington Park, is that an expansion going on there, or there's a,
Big turkey.
yeah?
Yeah, I saw sorry, I'm trying to remember, I saw a filing on this the other day in Public Records. I think they are expanding it, but I honestly don't know the extent of it at this point.
I know a little bit, they have some tennis courts,
Yeah.
they're adding some pickleball courts along with
Okay.
that now, so they're being added, and football practice field for
Oh, wow,
the community area,
awesome.
the field.
Well, thank you. That's
Sure,
helpful.
I live right there, so.
Yeah.
I got another question.
Yes.
You talked to Hendricks, there was talk about a hotel
Mhm.
high-rise at Bottleworks.
Mhm.
Did they mention anything about the status of that?
So they moved away from that because, well, like they obviously have the Bowerworks Hotel there now. And they don't want to necessarily cannibalize their own work. But they are doing that 11-story, actually 9-story now, building for Ice Miller, which is why One America is gonna have like 7 vacant floors in a few years. But they are going to continue building on to that. They're gonna do like a residential village as part of their next phase of development. But they've definitely moved away from another hotel there. They are looking at doing one basically where Harry and Izzy's is now, downtown as part of Circle Center Mall. And actually, I haven't even reported this yet. You're getting a scoop. They're in early conversations with the Hughes Culinary team about how that would work, whether they would have to theoretically shut down Harry and Izzy's for a couple of years and then build new, or if they can build atop the existing structure. But there are early conversations about putting like 130 to 150 room hotel there on that corner.
Thank you. Vicki, everyone agrees that the old city building is a magnificent historic building, and they've been trying to do something with that for years. Is there anything in the works at all?
Yeah, so for about a year and a half, the city has been working through negotiations with TWG Development, local developer, and TWG plans to build like a 30-story tower on the lot just north of that, and then convert the old city hall building into essentially a museum and event center, and that is still moving ahead. I mean, it's been very slow. I mean, honestly, as I was looking through this whole thing with the gold building that I talked about, I was also asking about that building because a lot of construction loans have been tough to come by over the past couple of years. So they are supposed to close on their construction loan by the end of this year, is what I've been told. So whether that comes to pass, never know. But at this point in time, it sounds like that's on track to open in, I believe they said in 2028. So.
You mentioned the Ice Miller building. Where is the new building?
So the new building is going to be built. So have you been to Bowerworks since it's been developed?
Yeah.
Yep. So the parking lot just past the past the hotel, like on the long end of the hotel. Oh, I have my phone silence. I apologize.
Like New York Street?
It would be 10th and Bellefontaine, I think. But there's that parking lot there at the end that a lot of people park in, and they're gonna basically tear that out and build on top of that with a new garage involved, and I think it's gonna be about a 300 space garage, where they're finalizing designs with the Historic Preservation Commission. Yes.
So as I drove down Indiana Avenue the other day, I saw that construction has begun on the big student development for Purdue. That's before you get to campus, and you just wrote about that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that project?
You're talking about the one
downtown
along the
property
canal?
into the student center.
Oh, so there's a few things going on with that area. I mean, you've got the property on the canal that's being developed by Air Street Development, and I honestly hadn't heard where that is lately, but the Academic Success Building on that campus is well underway now. I hadn't been by there, but it sounds like they're coming out of the ground with it. And that's supposed to open in 2027, I believe, before the 27-28 school year, if I'm remembering correctly. And that's gonna have housing, labs, classroom space, retail, dining, all this stuff. And then you've also got stuff across the street at essentially a student union type space, where the law firm used to be just north of where our door is now.
Yeah.
So they've got a few things in the works. I know that they're looking at doing some other developments starting probably next year, but that's kind of where things are with that.
I guess,
You mentioned the mall, that it's moving forward, but is there a timeline to when it would open?
So that's the tricky thing, because they really won't set a firm timeline, just that it's kind of like a rolling development type thing. They're gonna get it done as they go, rather than declaring like, we're gonna have this amount done by 26, or by 2028 or 2029. They're basically just kind of like doing it bit by bit, kind of like they did with Flowerworks, really. I mean, that approach seemed to work for them that time around, so why not try it again? But, I mean, Hendrix, obviously, they specialize in redevelopment projects, not just ground up development, so it's not surprising that they're kind of going that route. But I would expect that by probably 2030, we'll see the southern block of the mall redeveloped entirely. And then they'll probably start focusing on the northern block. That's still technically open, but I think they've kind of shuttered most of the spaces in there at this point. So, yeah, I think 2030 is when we'll start to kind of see the fruits of that labor.
I've got a question. What's the competition looking like with our northern suburbs, with Carmel and Fisher, since they've got some event centers and, you know, there's more space to park, basically? Is Indianapolis, you know, still leading the way, or do you predict that the Fishers or Carmel will become more of a competitor?
I mean, like that's always tough, because like Indianapolis continues to be like the economic hub of Indiana, but like for the past 30-40 years, we've continued to see what we all know as urban sprawl, like people kind of like moving out to the suburbs and putting things up out there. But I don't necessarily think that Carmel's ever going to become, like, I don't think we're ever going to be in a situation where it's like Minneapolis and St. Paul, or Dallas and Fort Worth, where like they're kind of cities like right next to each other that have very large populations. I mean, I think they'll always be like the suburbs, but we're going to continue to see that interest in building out their downtowns, especially. I mean, Fishers, they're building a new building downtown. Carmel has always got something going on. But I think because of the way Hamilton County's wealth is so evenly distributed, we're going to see these pockets continue to grow together rather than one continue to grow more than the other and start to compete with Indianapolis. It's going to be far more distributed. Yes?
when's the road construction gonna be done?
Never.
Get me down the interstate, please.
Yeah, I think they're gonna start on the north split here in like early 26 or so. I wish it were done too, don't worry. It'll be a great city when we're done building.
Yes, it will be.
Awesome, well, thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
inviting me out.
Appreciate you coming up. A very interesting conversation about the metropolitan area and the core and urban design. The foundation of Indianapolis, Kiwanis Foundation, will be making a donation in your honor to Here, Indiana, to deliver hope and resources to Hoosier children with hearing loss. So
Thank you.
again, appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank
Yep.
you.
Remember, no meeting next week. Try and make it out to the the golf course if you can, at least for lunch at 2 o'clock. With that, we are adjourned.